Warning: the Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern. and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome here to race number 31, playoff race number 5, second race of the round of 12 here for season 6 of the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series. The final road course stop of the season as we are back here in Lime Rock, Connecticut at the Lime Rock Raceway Park, getting set for the race that's going to pretty much set us up for the elimination race next week at Arizona, where we will cut the field in half from where we started. We started with 16. By the end of next week, we will be down to 8 drivers remaining. And at this point in time, we have yet to have a driver lock themselves into that round of the Elite 8, with last week a non-playoff driver going to victory lane in Daniel Voiles. Second win of his career, second win of the season. Will we see another non-playoff driver go to victory lane here today? We'll have to wait and find out. Our first road course race here of the playoffs a few weeks ago at Chatham, it was a non-playoff driver that went to victory lane there in Matt Haas. A lot of non-playoff drivers starting up here towards the front of the field. As a matter of fact, I believe that we've got 9 of them inside of our top 10 on the starting lineup. And on the pole position is going to be Levi McIntyre in the 99. Very similar lineup as it was back at Watkins Glen, where the pole sitter actually lines up on the right side since it is a right-hander as the first corner. So McIntyre is going to be the pole sitter. Jessica Shelton lines up to his outside. Slightly different from what we're used to seeing for a normal starting lineup, but when you have a first corner that is a right-hander, the driver that is the pole sitter gets the inside line, the right side line, as the advantage. Dylan Young going to line up in the third position. And fourth place will be Benjamin Snyder. What do all 4 of our top 4 starters have in common? All of them still have a 0 in the win column. Track position may be very important here today, being a road course, and all 4 of these drivers looking for that first checkered flag of the season. For Benjamin Snyder, looking for first win of his career, and he's had some pretty good numbers the last couple of road courses we've been to, so keep an eye on driver 74. You got to go all the way back to the 10th position before you find our first playoff contender, and that is RJ Bishop, who, as we take a look here at our playoff points coming into this race, is sitting in a pretty good spot after a decent run last week at Hillside. He's 16 points above the cut line, second only to Keith Batson, our current playoff points leader. But look down there around that cut line, which right now is the 55 of Nick Gunther, the 4-time winner. Michael Norman and Charles Sanford, they're only 8 to the good. Mitchell Collins only 4 to the good. And Liera, Bolin, Dunnard, and Moore, who all suffered poor performances last week, few of them, Bolin, Dunnard, and Moore, actually DNF'd from the race. They're still within striking distance. A good run here today, they could make up the 9, 11, and 13 points respectively that they are behind that cut line, and make their way up above the cut line heading into next week's race, the elimination race at Arizona. But if Nashville Superspeedway a couple of weeks ago, our first elimination race, is anything to go by, you don't want to go into that race below the cut line. Mitchell Collins was the exception, who was able to make his way from below the cut line to above the cut line by the end of that race. But I really don't think that you want to go in with a deficit. I think you want to have a cushion and try and preserve it going into that mile-and-a-half race. But we'll wait and see what happens here today. It's going to be 40 laps of racing. It's going to be a slightly longer one. We're going to be having more than likely a lot of local yellows. We may not see as many full course cautions as we're used to seeing at other road courses, but only time will tell. It's time to go down trackside though here for pre-race ceremonies and get ready to fire up the engines here at Lime Rock Raceway Park.
Drivers, start your engines.
Pace car going to lead the field off the front straightaway here. And they'll go around and complete a circuit. This racetrack just over 1.5 miles in length. As you see on the right side of your screen, starting lineup. Playoff drivers highlighted in yellow. Mention the fact RJ Bishop, the highest starting of them, and I was wrong. It's Destin Boland actually rolling off from the 8th position, then Bishop in 10th, and Sanford in 11th. So my apologies there. I did not notice the 12 car. Destin Boland below the cut line coming into this race. 9 points back. Interesting point of note, Ford and Chevrolet have not yet won a road course race this season. 4 road course stops so far this year. Mazda has taken 2 of them with Nick Gunther at Sonoma and the Charlotte Roval, and then Toyota has won the last 2 with Laura Chung at Watkins Glen and Matt Haas at Chatham. So Ford and Chevy lining up here on the front row. Could each of the manufacturers get their first road course win of the season here today? We have no previous winners here in the field in this one. Diego Yepes, Marcus Sachi, Carter Fries, and Benny Watson, Andrew Lemke, the defending winners of this event, going all the way back to Season 1. So we are guaranteed that a driver will get their first career victory here at Lime Rock today. Question is, who will it be? A couple of trouble spots here. You got the right-hander heading up towards this long straight. A lot of drivers sometimes run that wide, get the left sides off into the dirt. It loses them momentum and loses them this straightaway speed. And then right here, this final right-hander down the hill is a treacherous area for drivers, especially when they're going double wide. Sometimes they attempt 3 wide, and you can see to the driver's left there, that's a steel Armco barrier. You hit that, it's going to rip your car apart. So you've got to be very careful here not to make a mistake, not to put a tire wrong, because there's not going to be much padding between you and a hard impact into a steel guardrail or a tire barrier in certain sections of the racetrack. But here we go. 40 laps at Lime Rock. Getting ready to go racing for the final road course stop of the season. Levi McIntyre and Jessica Shelton bring us down to the restart zone. Flagman has the green flag in hand, and it's waving. We're underway. Saw Cole Deaver peek the nose out there and then quickly get back in line. It's tough enough to go double wide here and don't really want to go 3 wide through the final couple, or the first couple of corners here, the S's. Shelton and McIntyre duking it out to see who's going to get clear to the front. Shelton got a little off course there, and that's going to cost her. McIntyre will clear for the top position. Oh, and now both McIntyre and Shelton run wide, and here comes Dylan Young to take 2nd place. Will Hoer going to try and take 3rd from Shelton. Shelton again gets a little off course, and she'll drop back to 4th. McIntyre got to come around out of the final sweeping right-hander, and he'll lead the first lap of today's race here at Lime Rock. Now, in the past, we've run different configurations here at Lime Rock. We've run the bus stop, and then the last couple of seasons, we've run what's called the twist, where we do not use the bus stop, we use the long straightaway there. Honestly, I believe that the twist has been the better racing. As Dylan Young going to take advantage. McIntyre got a little wide off that corner again. Sun's been beaten down this road course, so it's very slick, not a lot of grip, and again, McIntyre just a little bit off track. Wouldn't seem like much that would lose you enough momentum to lose a position, but that's sand, that's gravel out there, and so when your tires get off course, they spin. You can't get traction. And if you've got all 4 tires on the racing surface, you've got a lot more traction, and that's what's going to help with the ability to make the moves when drivers ahead of you make a mistake. Got some playoff drivers back here. 7th place battle. Charles Sanford in the 03. Jack Dunnard in the 88. Sanford 8 points above the cut line. Dunnard 11 points below the cut line after the DNF he suffered last week. As we got several cars up there that got off course that time. McIntyre and Will Hoer. But Charles Sanford, he could very easily, with a good run today, move his way into a locked-in spot maybe into the next round of the playoffs, regardless of what happens next week at Arizona. I believe the caution's out, and yes it is. Yellow flag is out. First time today we get a full course yellow on lap number 3, and Dylan Young is going to bring them around to the front straightaway and receive that yellow flag. Ooh, there's a lot of skid marks there on the front straightaway, and I believe I saw one of our playoff drivers on pit road that looked like our Watkins Glen winner, Laura Chung. Chung came into this race 13 points above the cut line in the 4th seed. Does not want to have a bad run here today because she could easily fall below the cut line. Let's see. Oh, there's damage on 78, her teammate, and there is the 77, Laura Chung. But Ryan Butcher has also got damage. Looks like maybe back-end damage on the 24 of Reggie Fogelman. So we cycle through the field just to see if anybody else may be sporting some damage. I don't see anybody else. Looks like this was something that either happened off the final corner or just entering onto the front straightaway. Now we're going to stay here before we go back and look at the replay because we want to see with pit road open, only 3 green flag laps under these drivers' belts. Do they come to pit road? It is a longer race. We've seen shorter races with fuel and pit strategy. These drivers might not have to come to pit road as early here now with us having a somewhat extended race distance, but we'll look and see if anybody, at least up here at the front, dives onto pit lane, takes the opportunity to maybe pit here under caution rather than later on under green flag conditions, and it's like the answer will be no. Dylan Young's going to stay out, as will most of the drivers behind him. Let's go back and take a look at what happened. We've got a couple more drivers that were involved that are already out of the race. Anthony McCrory and Benjamin Miles have already gone back to the garage area, so that's about 5 drivers by my calculations that have been involved in this incident. And we're going to take a look at it right now, as I believe it's going to start with the 61 of Anthony McCrory potentially, who we saw that battle between Charles Sanford and Jack Donard. Anthony was in that vicinity. He was battling at the time for the 6th position. Oh, he got off course, gets into Charles Sanford, and then spins around the front straightaway. Nowhere for Benjamin Miles to go. There's Laura Chung, and RJ Bishop also got a piece. So that's 2 playoff drivers that were collected. There you see Chung took a hard hit into the Armco barrier. Now Reggie Fogelman, the 24, was back behind this, as was Ryan Butcher, so they must have had something happen prior, which you guys would have already been made aware of courtesy of the NNSCRA split cam. Let's see if we can get another angle of this. Oh, gets that rumble strip, does McCrory into the steel guardrail. Now watch these hits. Miles right there, Chung right there, and then, oh man, you can see the debris flying all over the front straightaway. And Bishop did indeed get a piece of it there in the 98. So tough break there for a couple of our playoff drivers. But Laura Chung is going to feel the effects worse, I think, of this than Bishop will, as she is already back and in the garage area. Same deal as we had at Chatham. If it ends up being that we need extra replays of what went down, you'll see them when we come back live, courtesy of the NNSCRA split cam, because you see the lights are already out atop the Toyota pace car. Pits are open the following lap after drivers receive the yellow, and then lights go out for 1 to green. We go back racing the next lap. So very short caution periods here at Lime Rock. Not a lot of time to go in depth in the full screen replays of what went down, but can officially report Laura Chung, Anthony McCrory, Benjamin Miles out of the race after what we just saw. Laura Chung, playoff contender. This could put her in a bit of a predicament heading into next week at Arizona Speedway, the elimination race for the round of 12. We had Jose Mills, Chris Dollerton, Quentin Moore, and Reggie Fogelman on pit lane under this caution period. They've all since returned to the track, still on the lead lap. 39 drivers still running as Dylan Young gets us back under green over Shelton, McIntyre, Hoer, and Snyder. And the battle will be for third going into the first couple corners. Levi McIntyre way wide, way off the course. And oh, he's going to hit the steel guardrail, and he's going to get hit by Keith Batson, who then in turn gets hit by Nathan Ormond and Chris Dollerton. Caution must certainly be out for that, and indeed it is. McIntyre, who started on the pole, playoff contender. Keith Batson, who came in the playoff points leader. As Shelton again gets off course. Dylan Young trying to charge up there and take the lead back once more. Ooh, Shelton might have almost gotten the tire barriers there. That was very wide. Looks like she doesn't have damage on the left side of her Chevrolet, though. Dylan Young does indeed get around her and take the lead and lead us back to caution once again. But Ormond, Dollerton, Batson, and McIntyre, we know were at least 4 of the drivers involved in what we just saw there. There might have been a couple of others that got bits and pieces. Remember, Dollerton had just come to pit road, made a pit stop, was trying to play some strategy. And there is Keith Batson. Smoke billowing from underneath the safety clean Auto Parts Ford Mustang. And that is going to be day done for a second playoff driver. Had 19 points between himself and the cut line coming into this race. And I believe he's going to end up finishing, it looks like maybe around the 37th, 38th position. Tough break there for Levi McIntyre, who started this race from the pole. Led the opening lap. Also being told that the 44 of Reese Banks has gone back behind the wall. I don't know if he was back in the vicinity of that wreck or not. There's Dollerton with his damage. All right, so let's go back and take a look at a replay of what happened there. Started with Levi McIntyre going way wide into 1 and 2, and when he tried to come back up onto the racing surface, he got the very edge of the steel guardrail and shot back into traffic. Here it is. Will Hoer, the inside of McIntyre, gave him plenty of room. McIntyre just overdrives the corner there. And then as he goes off into the foliage, he tries to come back onto the racing surface, and nowhere for Keith Batson to be able to go. And there was Nathan Ormond, who he's smoking as well, leaving the scene of the accident. And there is Chris Dollerton. Now, we did not see Reese Banks get involved in that. Where is the 44? There's the 44. What happens to him? Might be further on here. Maybe in this corner. He's battling with Samuel Ryder. Oh, LaPlante in the 48 gets hooked around, as did Dylan Poteet. And then Reese Banks clobbers the 31. Rick Johnson gets spun out as well. Ryan Brommer also gets spun out. Oh, and then Jose Mills gets run over by Ryan Butcher. So a lot happened right there. Down the hill in the final couple corners, and you'll get to see more angles of it courtesy of the RSA split cam here in just a few moments. As it looks like Dylan Young has given up the lead to come down pit road. And that turns the race lead over to Benjamin Snyder. Dylan Young, looks like Jessica Shelton, Will Hoer stayed out. Noah Hendrickson pit. Jack Dunnard stayed out. Matt Haas stayed out. Rob Evans stayed out. Samuel Ryder stayed out. So it looks like our top 5 will be Snyder, Hoer, Dunnard, Haas, and Evans. So Dylan Young, Jessica Shelton, Noah Hendrickson giving up spots inside of what was then the top 5 to come down pit lane under this yellow flag. There's Shelton and Hendrickson I see back there. Looking for the 2 of Dylan Young. Looks like he might have had an extended stay on pit road and lost some very valuable track position after leading 6 of the completed 7 laps of this race. So lights out atop the pace car. We're getting ready to go back green. Benjamin Snyder, who is just a couple 100 feet away from picking up his first career win back at Sonoma, our first road course race. Ended up finishing top 5, though, after he had a restart violation, had to serve it, came down pit road, served it, but still crossed the line inside of the top 5. Looking for redemption here today at Lime Rock Raceway. Ford, Chevy, Toyota, Chevy going to be the top 5 as we get ready to go back green. More drivers officially out of the race from what we just saw include Levi McIntyre, Reese Banks, Keith Batson, Nathan Normand, and Jose Mills. So right now, Keith Batson going to be leaving Lime Rock in 37th. Laura Chung, who retired out of the first incident, out of the race in 40th. Both drivers came in above the cut line. Will they still be above the cut line heading into Arizona next week? We'll have to wait and find out, as Matt Haas, winner from the last time out of the road course, Chatham, just a few weeks ago, gets by Jack Dunnard, moves up into the 3rd spot. Dunnard and Samuel Ryder running wide there off that corner. Rob Evans going to bypass them, and Matt Haas now trying to get Will Hoer, and he will, for 2nd place. Rob Evans now looking for 3rd on the 83. Got a little loose there off the corner, almost into the door of the 65. Samuel Ryder coming off another great run last week, finished 2nd to Daniel Voiles at Hillside. Samuel Ryder coming into this race 26th in the point standings. Been a while since he's been up inside the top 30 in points, and he finally is there. Having a good second half of this playoffs. As whoa, 83 of Will Howard just got sent up the hill, and this is going to block up the track. Oh, Caleb Fogler gets flipped upside down, courtesy of Carson Gum. And there's more drivers in it. That's Nick Gunther. You could barely see him through the trees, and he's got his engine smoking. 2-time road course winner on the season, 4-time overall winner this year. Noah Hendrickson is smoking. And that was one of the strangest places on the racetrack. Oh, we got a car around on the final corner. Ali Liera, and she's going to get hit by Ryan Brommer and James Qualls. That's another playoff driver. Osborne on pit road. Fogler already there after he was upside down. Carson Gum with front end damage. Jack Dunnard's got rear end damage on the 88. Another playoff driver. And caution waves for the 3rd time today. Much like last week at Hillside, today's race here at Lime Rock turning into a race of attrition, and we've got upwards of 5-6 playoff drivers here in the first 10 laps that have sustained damage. We could have as many as 3 or 4 of them out of the race at this point in time, depending on how much damage Ali Liera sustained. Nick Gunther is definitely out, I'm certain. And we're going to try and figure all out what happened here. Another incident up towards the front. This time involving the 83 of Will Hoer. And I'm not certain if we're going to be able to get a clear enough shot of how he ended up getting turned around. He was battling with Samuel Ryder and Jack Dunnard. Let's see if this gives us a good enough shot. I think the hill might be blocking our view, though. Yeah, it's just too hard to see there. Track gets blocked up. Nowhere for these drivers to go. We're going to have to go back to the original cam, I think, here, unfortunately. Even though we won't see the initial contact. I don't know if he gets into Samuel Ryder or if Jack Dunnard gets into him. I think Dunnard gets into Hoer. Back down the hill. Shelton, Hendrickson. There's Fogler. There's Carson Gum. Now watch right here. If we can get back quickly enough, I think Nick Gunther hits the upside down Caleb Fogler. Daniel Voiles, I think, also hit Caleb Fogler. And he leaves the scene smoking, last week's winner. And then there's what happens with Ali Liera. She gets loose, gets into Charles Sanford. A hit from Joshua Osborne. Then here comes Brommer and here comes Qualls. And there's black smoke billowing from underneath the Aqueduct Solution Chevrolet of Ali Liera, so I think she's going to be done for the day. Gets split 3 wide there. Now, Lime Rock in the past has definitely played its part into who's advancing into the round of 8 and who is not. It's doing it here again today. A lot more drivers back behind the wall. Carson Gum, James Qualls, Noah Hendrickson, Caleb Vogler, Ali Liera, Daniel Voiles, Ryan Brommer, and Nick Gunther. Add them to the list. So that is 4 playoff drivers out of the race already, and we're not even at the halfway point. Dylan Young is going to be the leader after Benjamin Snyder came to pit road. Samuel Ryder will line up in second. Matt Haas, the aforementioned Snyder, and Rob Evans going to be the top 5. Look who's up in 6th. Quentin Moore right behind him. Destin Bolin. These are 2 drivers that were behind the cut line coming into this race. Bolin was 9 points out. Quentin Moore 13 points out with drivers out of the race. Playoff contenders. Chance for them to maybe make their way up above the cut line. See Kyle Matthews back there just inside of the top. I think he's in the top 15 right now. 11th or 12th place. With Nick Gunther out of the race, that moves that cut line quite a bit because Gunther was the cut driver in 8th position. Ali Liera out of the race was the 9th place driver. So, opportunity here for Destin Bolin and Quentin Moore to maybe move into the top 8, and opportunity for drivers like Michael Norman and Charles Sanford, Mitchell Collins with a good run today to pad their cushion back to that 8th in the standings cut line. Right now, we only have 26 drivers still running. They're all on the lead lap. And 8 of them are remaining playoff contenders as Dylan Young gets us back under the green. Rob Evans wide. Look out. Going to clear the guardrail. But then going to have to merge back onto the track. You're going to lose a lot of time as a result. Does get back up onto the racing surface. There will not be a caution for that. That was deemed off the racing surface and nobody else was involved. But tough break there for Rob. As Dylan Young wide there, so is Samuel Ryder. Matt Haas has really been taking advantage of drivers messing up that corner. He'll now go to work for second place on the 63, and he will take the position. Destin Bolin going to get around Benjamin Snyder, move him up to, I believe that is 5th. Quentin Moore right now in 4th, and there is Jesse Turner in 6th place. Kyle Matthews going to take 7th from Benjamin Snyder here through 1 and 2. And his teammate Charles Sanford just back there. As a matter of fact, you got 3 of the S3 Motorsports cars up here. Whoa, a couple cars wide. And one of them was Austin LaPlante. He goes on the left side of the guardrail. He'll have to merge back onto the track. RJ Bishop ran wide, but he saved it. Ooh, this is sketch. Cody Lamas got really wide there, almost 3 wide with Jack Dunnard and Dylan Poteet. Dunnard, no back bumper, but still continuing on, trying to make his way back up into the top 8. RJ Bishop, where he's running right now, he and Kyle Matthews might be the 2 to battle it out for who's going to be the points leader of the playoffs heading next week, as playoff drivers, 3 of them clumped together in a battle for, I believe this is 4th place? No, 5th place. Quentin Moore, Destin Bolin, and Kyle Matthews. With only 26 drivers running, you can see 27th on down being scored off the lead lap. Jesse Turner working his way up there. He is 4th right now, just ran his fastest lap of the race. Ooh, this is sketchy. Woo, Quentin Moore got loose. Did he get the tire barrier is the big question. No, it doesn't look like it. Got the rumble strips there. A couple of moments for the rookie out of Joanna Atwood Motorsports. As Dylan Young continues to show the way, Dylan has led 10 laps so far today. 4 laps led by Benjamin Snyder, and then 1 lap led by the pole sitter Levi McIntyre. Nobody else has been out in front in this one so far. Matt Haas trying to run down Dylan Young. Dylan was faster the last time by 0.3 of a second. He ran a 53.4 to Matt Haas's 53.7. And both drivers a little wide there. Samuel Ryder starting to close in for that runner-up position. You can see the dust residue there lingering through the final corner. Things have gotten spread out now, so maybe we'll get into a long green flag run, which brings into question just what the fuel window is for these drivers. Would they have to come to pit road between now and the checkered flag? I assume they would, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they absolutely will, because I don't have the calculations. Michael Norman, 5th in points coming into this race, right now in the 8th position. Good run there for him and Charles Sanford, trying to take advantage of Laura Chung being out of the race. Move their way up a little bit higher on the playoffs ladder. As Quentin Moore under fire from Michael Norman. This is for 7th. Sanford starting to close in. Zachary Fitzwater right there as well, who's going to take advantage of Sanford getting off course. Fitzwater battling now for the 9th spot. Reggie Fogelman about to move up towards the top 10. Had the damage from earlier on. They removed the back bumper, and he is 11th. Jessica Schulten, who started on the outside of the front row, right now in 12th under fire from former playoff contender, rookie winner from Texas, Rick Johnson. And there's Mitchell Collins. It was 4 points above the cut line coming into this race, but with Nick Gunther and Ali Liera both out, Mitchell Collins could have a pretty nice cushion between himself and that 8th in the standings cut line heading into next week. Kyle Matthews, Jesse Turner. This is for 4th. Matthews shows the nose to the inside. Turner going to run wide, having to give the space, and Matthews will easily pick up the spot. Matt Haas. He'll move into 2nd, getting around Samuel Ryder. Now, Matt Haas does have some front-end damage, I'm noticing, and I believe it was from the incident we had here on the front straightaway with Anthony McCurry, Benjamin Miles, Laura Chung, and others. We'll see if that damage is going to affect him in any way, shape, or form. We do have the long front straightaway and a somewhat lengthy back straightaway here on the other side of the course. I don't know if you necessarily have to have a very aerodynamic car or not, but it doesn't matter. Where did Matt Haas go? He's now all the way back here. Must have run wide in one of those corners, and he drops back to, what was that, about 7th place now from 2nd. Samuel Ryder now moves back into the 2nd spot. Kyle Matthews and Jesse Turner beginning to close. As Turner with a late showing of the nose there. Whoa, little wide. Almost got to those tire barriers. Did the Air Force Ford Mustang. But he kept it going as Dylan Young has checked out. He is gone. Last time by, over 3 seconds between himself and now 2nd place Samuel Ryder. Matthews into 3rd, Turner into 4th, and Michael Norman right now completing the top 5 as Dylan Young looking for his first win on the season, looking to join his teammates RJ Bishop and Destin Bolin in victory lane. The organization has 5 wins this year, 2 with Bishop and 3 with Bolin, but Dylan Young wants his first win on the season as well. Is there another round of pit stops these drivers are going to have to make before the conclusion? We'll be finding out very, very shortly. We're going to step aside for a quick commercial break as we're halfway home here at Lime Rock Raceway Park in the Duracell Cup Series. welcome back to Lime Rock as Dylan Young continues to lead the field around this 1.5-mile road course. And caution is out. Yellow flag's out for the 4th time today. We had 3 cautions in the first half of this race. 15 drivers retired out, including 4 playoff contenders. Aliliera, Nick Gunther, Keith Batson, and Laura Chung, but fourth full course yellow flying here at the completion of lap 22. Might be a blessing in disguise for these drivers because they may be able to make the final pit stop of the day right here rather than later on under green flag conditions. Dylan Young, Kyle Matthews, Samuel Ryder, Jesse Turner, Michael Norman at the top 5 that crossed the line. Field was so spread out, uncertain who it was that would have had this yellow flag, as there is some damage on the 88 of Jack Dunnard. That front end damage is new. He already had the damage on the back end of his Budweiser Chevrolet, playoff contender there, Jack Dunnard, and we'll see if maybe he was the reason for this 4th caution of the day. We'll document if indeed drivers came to pit road here under this yellow. I would assume the whole field's going to come down pit lane. Be surprised if anybody elects to stay out. And it was indeed Jack Dunnard, but it was not him that started it. Might have been the 13 of Cody Lamas, who was battling with RJ Bishop. Oh, man! RJ got the tires hard. And then Cody Lamas, and there is Jack Dunnard getting involved as well as Cole Deaver snakes his way through. I think we got enough time to go and look at another angle. That might be RJ Bishop's day done. Those tire barriers, they will rip your car apart. Let's look at this again. Gets into Cody's right rear. And both the 98 and the 13 hit hard into the tires, separating the racetrack from pit road. And yeah, Bishop never refired the car. I think his day is done. I think that's going to bring a total up to 5 playoff drivers out of the race. As we come back to live action, everybody on pit road. And Dylan Young's going to win the battle off. Kyle Matthews gave it a shot. Looks like Michael Norman's going to leapfrog Jesse Turner for 4th place. But the top 3 coming in or the top 3 coming out? Young, Matthews, and Ryder. And we can report RJ Bishop out of the race. 5 playoff drivers now going to suffer a DNF today at Lime Rock. Field got very spread out. Was looking like we were maybe going to have green flag run to the finish, but this yellow flag bunches everybody else back up. 25 drivers still running, all at this point on the lead lap. Can't give you a full field rundown because they right now have been all jumbled up. We have to wait till they cross the start finish line the next time to be able to give you the official running order. We do know the top 5, though. If I can eyeball it back there. 6th is Quentin Moore, Charles Sanford 7th. It looked like Benjamin Snyder, Benjamin Snyder, Zachary Fitzwater, and Reggie Fogelman. That's going to be the top 10 as we get ready to go back green flag racing. As things stand right now, going to be a big points day for drivers like Kyle Matthews, Michael Norman, Quentin Moore, and Charles Sanford in their attempt to make it into the round of 8. Next week, we will find out who those 8 drivers will be when we take to Arizona Speedway for the second elimination race of the playoffs. And remember, if any of a playoff driver goes to victory lane here today, they're locked in to the round of 8 regardless of what happens next week. So a bit of incentive there for all these playoff drivers that are still running and at this point up to speed, still competitive inside of the top 10. But it's been all Dylan Young today. He has led 18 of the 23 completed laps here, and he's about to lead his 19th lap of 24 completed as he gets ready to get us back under the green flag. 16 laps to go here at Lime Rock. Charles Sanford making a move to the inside of Quentin Moore. That's for 6th. Fitzwater and Miles side by side there. Chris Dalton a little wide there off of turn 2. Looks like he kept it back on the racing surface though, as Dylan Young wide. And Kyle Matthews says thank you very much. He's going to go to the front for the first time today. Oh, now he gets wide, as does Dylan Young, as does Samuel Ryder. Here comes Michael Norman in the 22. Young wanted the lead back. Kyle Matthews says, not today. Whoa, close there. Contact maybe between the 2 and the 22 of Young and Norman. They keep it together, though. Quentin Moore now closes in, makes it a 3-man fight for the runner-up spot as Kyle Matthews pulls away. Kyle Matthews, winner earlier on the season at Coke Zero Super Speedway. That locked him into the playoffs, trying to defend his title from last season that he got along with Stephen Pollard III and Caleb Fogler. I believe I saw one car go really wide there off into the foliage off of turn 2. Not certain who it was, but you guys will have seen it on the replay courtesy of Manchester Split Cam as second place battle is on. Dylan Young, Michael Norman, both keep it on the track that time. Kyle Matthews did not, and Dylan Young trying to take that momentum, not going to be able to get there to the 0-9 just yet. Kyle Matthews done a good job. He's messed up that corner the last couple of times, but he's been able to quickly get it back on the track, get that grip back, and hold Dylan Young at bay, not once but twice in the past 2 laps. Michael Norman now under fire for 3rd place by the rookie Samuel Ryder. Right now, Samuel Ryder and Zachary Fitzwater in a fight for who's going to be rookie of the race. Reggie Fogelman and Benjamin Snyder not too far back as well. As Fitzwater looking driver's right on Charles Sanford. Looking to get that 5th position, and I think he might get it. Lead exchange, Kyle Matthews ran a little off course. Dylan Young gets back by him, and then he goes way up the track. Here comes Michael Norman in the 22. Can he get alongside? Yes, he can. Oh, Dylan Young got his tires off again. Had to check up, and that checked up Kyle Matthews in turn. Michael Norman, for the first time today, is going to lead a lap here at Lime Rock. Ryder into 2nd, Young back to 3rd, Matthews back to 4th, and Fitzwater in 5th. Drop a little bit further back here, and Destin Bolin, Mitchell Collins, couple of Fords in 11th and 12th. Doing what they got to do here today. Jack Dunnard, they removed the front end of his race car, back end of his race car. There's not much race car left, but he's holding 20th. And Quentin Moore might have been that car that went wide that I saw there in the foliage. He's now the last car running back in 25th. He needs a caution to bunch everybody back up as Samuel Ryder, the rookie's going to get to the front. Now last season, matter of fact, I believe 2 seasons here in Duracell Cup Series at Lime Rock, a driver has picked up their first career victory. Marcus Sachi did it back in Season 2. Andrew Lemke did it last year as Dylan Young. Oh no, he's going to get the steel guardrail. And I don't think that's going to bring out a yellow. Oh, but this will. Will Hoer's gone around the front straightaway. Caution will fly for that, but Dylan Young, who led the most laps today, 19 laps, runs wide in 1 and 2, gets the steel guardrail, and just like that, looks like his day is going to be done. What a costly mistake. Samuel Ryder, Michael Norman look like they're going to be 1st and 2nd coming back to the line. Fitzwater just took 3rd from Kyle Matthews, and Reggie Fogelman has now moved up into the 5th spot. Oh, that's a tough break there for D. Young, who was looking for his first win on the season, but Samuel Ryder, the McDonald's Ford Mustang, going to lead them back. Question here is, were they good to make it on fuel? Are they able to stay out? Or will everybody come back down pit road again? Well, we saw it live what happened to Dylan Young. We'll go back and look at the replay of what actually brought the caution out. Will Hoer in the 83 going around on the front straightaway. This is a big break for Quentin Moore in the 89 because he'll get to catch back up. Although I believe Quentin got a little piece of this. Here's what happened. Will Howard trying to drive to the inside of Rob Evans. Evans, I think, is going to get the rumble strip right there. Gets loose, comes down into the 83. Rick Johnson, little tap there to Will Howard. And then watch right here as Howard's trying to get the car turned back around. I think Quentin Moore in the 89 is going to sideswipe him, and that's how he spun right here. Now, I did more than sideswipe him. Jacked him up in the right rear quarter panel. So that's going to be some damage on the left front for the 89 car. But it does catch Quentin Moore back up to the rest of the field. Pit road's open. Do the leaders come in? Dylan Young still sits on pit road. Is not retired out of the race, but I think he's going to probably have to. I don't know how they're going to get that thing repaired and back out there. Worst he's going to finish is 25th. As we cycle through. Oh, we got a taker. Charles Sanford is coming in. Could this be a strategy call by driver 03? He's the only one coming down. Well, Charles came into this race 8 points above the cut line. Laura Chung ahead of him in points. Nick Gunther and Ali Oliera below him in points out of the race. Let's see if they go for tires or fuel. They are going to go for tires. They're going to go for at least lefts, as you just saw Dylan Young. They just pushed his car back into the infield. He's done 4 tire stop for Charles Sanford. In what's going to be less than a 10-lap shootout here. Interesting call on the 03. We'll have to follow up on that as lights are out atop the pace car, and we're getting ready to go back. Green flag racing. Samuel Ryder the leader. Michael Norman second. Fitzwater is third. Kyle Matthews fourth. And Reggie Fogelman is fifth. Rest of the top 10 as they run. Destin Bolin, Benjamin Snyder, Jesse Turner, Matt Haas, and Mitchell Collins. If you just joined us here, we're getting ready for a shootout at Lime Rock. Working our 5th caution of the day. 24 cars running, all 24 on the lead lap. Rest of the drivers out of the race after the incidents we've had, including 5 playoff contenders. RJ Bishop, Ali Liera, Nick Gunther, Keith Batson, and Laura Chung. Bishop finishing 26th, Liera 31st, Nick Gunther 34th, Batson 37th, and Chung all the way down in 40th. A driver, a playoff driver wins, they're locked into the round of 8, heading into next week at Arizona. We've got some candidates up here, the 22 of Norman in 2nd, the 09 of Matthews in 4th, the 12 of Boland in 6th, Collins in 10th. And then the remaining playoff drivers that are still running, Jack Dunnard, Quentin Moore, who just caught up with that caution flying, and Charles Sanford going to start deep in the field in 24th, but with 4 fresh Goodyears. Is it enough time, though? 9 laps to work your way up from 24th to the race lead. Are these drivers going to have to pit before this race is over? Did Sanford just pull the 2000 IQ play? We'll find out here in just a few moments as the green flag is back out. And Samuel Ryder trying to get KB Racing Enterprises their third win on the year. Trying to be the second driver out of the organization to go to victory lane and looking for his first career victory to join what's been a long list of drivers here this season that have been able to do the same, whether they be a rookie or a veteran. Second place, Fitzwater gets around Michael Norman. Now rookies hold the top 2 spots as both Ryder and Fitzwater wide there in that corner. Norman going to go back for second place. Matthews going to follow him in line and look for third. He'll get the spot, Will Matthews. Fitzwater back to 4th. Destin Bolin looking to the inside of Reggie Fogelman for 5th. Turner right there as well in the 47. Matt Haas in the 8. Benjamin Snyder's been up in the top 10 all day long in that 74. A couple of the Lake Effect Autosport Ford Mustangs having good runs today. Whoa, a little wide there, Reggie Fogelman. He's going to go off course. Is he going to come back and get the guardrail? He is. Tough break for the 24. It's so tough when you're back there in that shrubbery. You can't see when you merge back onto the track where you are. Destin Bolin and Jesse Turner got out of shape, and we're almost 3 wide there with Benjamin Snyder. These drivers are trying to have another caution. As Norman got around Fitzwater for second, Fitzwater wants the spot back. Samuel Ryder is riding off into the sunset, pun intended. It'd be back-to-back seasons that a rookie has gone to victory lane here at Lime Rock if Ryder's able to pull it off. Fitzwater, our Indy winner, looking for his second win on the season. Norman hounding him for that spot. Matt Haas trying to win back-to-back road course races after winning at Chatham about 3 weeks ago. Kyle Matthews right behind him and Benjamin Snyder. 3-way battle for fourth. As Ryder continues to pull away, and the caution's out. Caution is waving. Which means we're going to rack them up and we're going to do it again, and we'll have a shootout of less than 5 laps to go. I think these drivers might have already taken the yellow. They're running a little bit slower than Samuel Ryder, who I'm certain did not want to see that yellow flag fly. Reggie Fogelman's on pit road. We know that Dylan Poteet, that's who it was. I was going to say, we know Fogelman got into the steel guardrail there off of 2. Don't know who the caution was for, but that just answered our question. Dylan Poteet in the 31 car, who was 11th last time by, involved here in what's going to be our 6th caution of the day. Let's quickly go back. Let's take a look at what happened. Well, we had other drivers involved. Jesse Turner was in it. Chris Dollerton in the 43, smoking. The whole right front fender ripped off of his Whataburger Ford Mustang. Let's see where this took place. It was off the final corner, and it was a battle for either 6th or 7th. Watch the 12 of Destin Bolin. Gets the right side. It's on the rumble strip. The left side's rather gets into Turner. Turner hard hit into the steel guardrail, down into Poteet. And then where does Dollerton get hit? Right there. Oh, man, Poteet, big shot. Look at just snake through that. Charles Sanford, after he had made that pit stop. Quentin Moore just snaked through as well. That's Poteet's day done. There's the 43 of Dollerton, limping his Mustang back around. Same for Jesse Turner, who took a big shot with the left side of his number 47 into the Armco barrier. Caution waves for the 6th time today, and it's going to set us up for a shootout here at Lime Rock. No surprise, nobody down pit road. They just passed by pit lane. Poteet sitting on pit road now. More than likely his day is done. Jesse Turner, Chris Dollerton came down pit road the last lap and retired out of the race. Last week was a race of attrition. Took us several big wrecks before we eventually got into a long green flag run. Had to deal with a lot of slower traffic in that one, did the leaders, but we were able to run green for a good portion of the final segment of that race. Here today, 6 caution flags. It has taken out now 22 drivers. 20 drivers remain on the track, all still on the lead lap. Traffic hasn't necessarily been a concern since it is a road course. I think we just ran our longest green flag run of the day, however. Either that or the one prior before the Will Hoer incident. But this time by, we will be at 4 laps to go. Will we finish them under green or not? Line up as they run when they cross the start-finish line. These are the 20 drivers going to take you all the way down through the running order. Samuel Ryder, the leader. Zachary Fitzwater, second. Michael Norman, third. Matt Haas in fourth. And Kyle Matthews completes the top 5. Then it's Benjamin Snyder, 6th. Jack Dunnard, 7th. Rick Johnson, 8th. Charles Sanford on those fresh tires is up to 9th. 10th is Quentin Moore. Cole Deaver is 11th. Ryan Butcher, 12th. 13th is Joshua Osborne. Will Hoer 14th. Austin LaPlante's 15th. Destin Bolin is 16th. Mitchell Collins 17th. 18th place we find Cody Lamas. 19th is Jessica Shelton. And Rob Evans is the last car running in the 20th position. Look back there at the 7th place car, Jack Dunner. No front end, no back end, still soldiering on. We saw him back at Auto Club. Needed a good run to make his way into the playoffs. He got it. That team seems to rise to the occasion when they are behind the 8-ball. Dunnard had a DNF last week at Hillside. Came into this race 11th seed, 11 points behind the cut line. He's ahead of Boland. Liera and Gunther are out of the race. He could be above the cut line before this race is over. We'll have to wait and see. But Samuel Ryder, he's led 8 laps so far. He wants to lead the final 4. He's going to try and hold off Fitzwater, Norman, Haas, and Matthews. Norman and Matthews, they want to win their way into the round of 8. Green flag back in the air. Couple cars stepping out of line further back, but not up here at the front. Now Norman takes a peek on Fitzwater, who runs wide. Fitzwater way wide there. Can he avoid the steel guardrail? No, he cannot. Zachary Fitzwater from 2nd place on the restart hits the guardrail. There will not be a caution for that, I don't believe. Though I am seeing the yellow flag waving. Did it come out for the 66? I don't think it would have. It hasn't for any other driver that's had that issue. As Ryder runs wide there, Michael Norman going to challenge for the lead. Racing back to the caution. And Norman's going to get the spot. Benjamin Snyder, Matt Haas duking it out. Oh, contact. Haas gets a little loose. He's going to lose 4th to Kyle Matthews as Michael Norman leads us back and takes the caution. Now here's the question. Will we get a one-lap shootout? Caution's been taken. Pits will be open this next time by. Lights should go out and we should get a one-lap shootout. This thing is not over yet. But I don't think the caution would have come out for the 66. Because the caution has not come out when other drivers have ended up hitting that barrier. Dylan Young has hit the barrier. The caution didn't come out. Levi McIntyre hit that barrier. The caution didn't come out. So I don't think that's the reason for the yellow, but we'll check. Going to use the pace car, see when the lights came on. Might have been something that happened towards the back of the pack that we didn't necessarily see. Lights on, looking through the field. It was the Fitzwater incident. Interesting they throw the caution for that one when they didn't for a couple of prior incidents. So, since that was the reason for the caution coming out, we'll go back and take a look at it. Full screen replay. And there you see the hit for Fitzwater, just impaling the front grille, the radiator on that steel barrier. Just slices into the front end of that race car, and that is going to be day done for the rookie, the former playoff contender who got eliminated back a couple of weeks ago at Nashville in the round of 16. All right, moment of truth. Pit road was open. Nobody came to pit lane. Lights should go out this time. We should have a one-lap shootout. Michael Norman's hoping that the lights stay on, because if he wins under caution, he's advancing into the round of 8. The lights don't go out just yet. They'll go out a little bit later here after they exit out of turn 2, if indeed we're going back green. Ryder wants a shot at redemption after losing the lead there on that run. He's 2nd. Snyder is up to 3rd. Then Kyle Matthews and Matt Haas. That is the top 5. Sanford's up to 6th on those fresh tires. That strategy call worked out in his favor. Dunnard, Moore, Deaver, and Bolin, that's the top 10. Are the lights going out? I think it's a little further up here that they need to go before we get the indication of whether this will be ending under yellow or it's a one-lap shootout. I'm hoping for that one-lap shootout. There's no drivers off the lead lap, so we shouldn't have an extra lap of pacing added on. Should be right around here if the lights go out. And they're still on. Are we actually not going to finish this race under green? Fitzwater out of the race. He'll finish 20th. 19 cars still running. And where is the point where the lights should go out here? I thought it would have been earlier than now. Maybe it's up here. I hope this race doesn't end under yellow. Let's see about here on this straight. Lights still on. I don't think we're getting back green. That's disappointing. Would have loved to have seen these drivers duke it out for one final mile and a half. I don't understand why the extra lap of caution here when we've consistently all day had really 1.5 laps of pacing. But Michael Norman's not going to complain because right now he's out in front. And if he wins here, his second victory on the season, he is locked in to the round of 8 heading into next week at Arizona Speedway. I believe this right now would be, yes, it would be Ford's first victory here at Lime Rock. Up until now, it has been 4 wins for Chevrolet and 1 win for Toyota. That lone victory courtesy of Benny Watson back in Season 4. Ford never won here prior at Lime Rock, and right now you've got 3 of them on the podium with Norman, Ryder, and Snyder. And there you can see we crossed the line. White flag is in the air, which means that this race is going to end under yellow. That's a shame. But this is going to be big points days for a number of playoff contenders. Michael Norman obviously going to win his way into the round of 8, but Kyle Matthews going to finish in 4th, Charles Sanford in 6th. Jack Dunnard and Quentin Moore, who were both below the cut line, they're going to get top 10s in 7th and 8th. Destin Boland was also below the cut line. He's going to be 10th. Going to be big points days for all of the playoff drivers that survived here today. Every one of the remaining playoff drivers, with the exception of Mitchell Collins, going to finish up inside the top 10. Collins is going to finish in 16th. Well, Michael Norman, for a span of the second half of the regular season, was duking it out with Matt Haas for who was going to be the regular season champion. Neither one ended up getting the regular season championship. Nick Gunther got it in the final race of the season. But Michael Norman's been very consistent this year. Victory at M&M Super Speedway, 4 top 5s, 10 top 10s, an average finishing position of 16th, which I believe is the third best, only to Matt Haas and Nick Gunther. And now going to pick up his second win on the season and solidify himself a spot into the round of 8, which will consist of Boston International Speedway, Talladega Superspeedway, and Rockingham Speedway in preparation for the season finale at Michigan International. Well, we certainly would have liked to have seen what would have happened in the final mile and a half under green flag conditions. Not certain why the race officials decided to end this race under yellow, but the end result is the end result. Through the final corner for the final time, the Dr. Pepper Ford Mustang of Michael Norman is about to pick up Michael Norman Motorsports' 6th win on the season as an organization, his 2nd win on the year, and an automatic ticket into the round of 8. Michael Norman brings it down to the start-finish line, and Michael Norman is going to take the checkered flag here today at the road course of Lime Rock Raceway Park. Small field of 19 cars going to cross the line, the surviving warriors here today. And we will be taking a look here at your finishing results. We gave you the playoff drivers where they finished. How about some shout-outs to some of the non-playoff drivers here today? Samuel Ryder continues the consistent runs. That's back-to-back runner-up finishes for him, following up last week at Hillside. Benjamin Snyder continues to run well at the road courses. He gets 3rd. Matt Haas, our winner from the last road course at Chatham, he gets a top 5 here in the final road course race of the season. Cole Deaver, great run there for the 0-8 as he's going to bring it home in 9th. Rick Johnson there in 11th. Will Hoer in 12th. Cody Lamas, Rob Evans, Ryan Butcher, they soldier on to finish in the top 15. We mentioned Collins down there in 16th, and then LaPlante, Shelton, and Osborne were the last drivers to finish this race after we worked 7 cautions for 19 laps here today. And there's the list of drivers that ended up DNFing as a result of those 7 yellow flags. The notables, playoff drivers, 5 of them in total. RJ Bishop in 26th, Ali Liera in 31st, Nick Gunther in 34th, Keith Batson in 37th, and Laura Chung in 40th. Just eyeballing it, I believe Ali Liera and Nick Gunther, they're both going to be below the cut line. Who the other 2 drivers are, I'm not certain. We'll have to wait and see. But Michael Norman, we know for certain, whether he's above or below the cut line after next week's race, he's going to be advancing into the round of 8 regardless, winning here today at Lime Rock Raceway Park. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race here, the final road course of the season. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We showed you your full feature results, and you're now looking at your point standings heading into next week when we whittle the field down from 12 to our Elite 8. Heading to the Arizona Speedway for some 1.5 mile action under the lights. Until then, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, Offline Racing at its best.